to the arena. What is today's fantastic battle? Who are the brave combatants and who will be victorious? You will decide their fates and determine the outcome by voting on the victor in this installment of Fantastic Battle. Today's matchup is Sarah Connor versus Ellen Ripley. Yes, the two major heroines from the two biggest James Cameron franchises, Alien and the Terminator, are going to square off against each other. Don't ask why, how, or when, just ask what would happen. For this battle, we're going to go with the versions of these characters from their respective sequels. So, Sarah Connor from Terminator 2 Judgment Day will be taking on Ellen Ripley from Aliens. The reason for this is quite simple, actually, because the versions of these characters from the first movies aren't exactly fighters. But that's okay, because after all, they weren't meant to be fighters. In the Terminator, Sarah Connor spends most of the film being very confused and scared, which is understandable. Happens to me every day. And in Alien, Ellen Ripley spends a large majority of the film being scared and confused as well. And she spends some of that time running around in her underwear looking for her cat. Again, happens to me every day. Yeah, these versions of these characters aren't exactly what you would call warriors. In the Terminator, Sarah Connor's day starts off with a little shithead kid putting a scoop of ice cream in her apron pocket, and of course her day just goes downhill from there. The point is, the versions of these characters featured in their respective sequels are way more badass, and therefore would be a better fight. Yep, by the time their sequels roll around, these two have had quite enough of their antagonists. After the events of the first Terminator movie, Sarah Connor spends years training and preparing herself for the battles to come, and learning about every single gun on the planet, making her a weapons specialist. Ellen Ripley becomes quite familiar with being marauded and menaced by an extremely dangerous, invasive alien species, and therefore develops quite a keen survival instinct in the process, as well as getting a crash course in weapons training. So both of these characters are pretty handy with firearms, possess pretty good survival instincts, and have very strong powers of will. And these two squaring off against each other, well, I think that would be quite the melee. Now, the only stipulation here would be that the versions of these characters from their aforementioned respective sequels would have the same weapons available to them that were available to them in those movies. Which means that Ripley would have that neat little combination pulse rifle grenade launcher flamethrower thing, in which she used to turn the alien hive into a Western omelet. And also at her disposal would be the power loader, which was pretty effective against the alien queen, but you have to wonder how effective would it be against Sarah Connor, because it's a utility after all. It's not a weapon. It's pretty bulky and cumbersome, and well, it's gotta be like walking around inside a giant fat kid. In all fairness, it was never meant to be a weapon. It's supposed to help in loading and unloading stuff. So using this in combat would be comparable to using a forklift in a drag race. All that aside, Ripley would most certainly have the upper hand when it came to firepower. But just because you're outgunned doesn't necessarily mean that you're outmatched. And just because you have a superior weapon is no guarantee of victory. After all, you do have to know how to use it. So preparedness would be the key, and this is where Sarah Connor would have the advantage. Because a crash course in how to use a pulse rifle is no substitute for years of preparation and training. And thus, based on her experience with combat, or at least her knowledge of combat, the edge would go to Sarah Connor. And it's an odd thing to say, but combating an entire hive of xenomorphs is massively different than fighting one person, especially when that one person is basically a master assassin. Now, does this battle stratagem come to us from the ancient pages of Sun Tzu's The Art of War? No, it comes to us from The Princess Bride, what I'm going to call the Fezzik Theorem. In The Princess Bride, the character Fezzik explains that fighting just one person as compared to an entire group is quite different. And he goes on to explain that you have to use different strategies when fighting an entire group of foes, and that he wasn't quite accustomed to fighting just one enemy. He was familiar with fighting gangs and not one-on-one combat, and therefore fighting mano-a-mano was problematic for him, and he eventually loses the battle. It's something that shouldn't make sense, but it does, and Ripley would have to adapt new strategies to combat Sarah Connor. The spray and pray technique is pretty effective against a horde of aliens, but probably not against just one foe. go. It's easier for one person to dodge and hide from attacks as opposed to an entire group. After all, a herd only moves as fast as its slowest member, and one unattached person, unhindered by a larger group, would be far more mobile. So Ellen Ripley's superior firepower and resolve, and Sarah Connor's knowledge, experience, and all-around ability are things to consider when making your choice. As you determine who is triumphant in this fantastic battle and vote upon the victor! Yes, so who do you got? Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor? Get your votes in now. There's a couple of different ways to do that. You can vote via reaction icon on the Captain Adams VHS Pirate Ship Facebook page. Just look for the corresponding post and be sure to give that page a like and a follow. You can also vote via reaction icon on the Fantastic Battles Facebook page. Again, just look for the corresponding post and give that page a like and a follow as well. And you can join the Fantastic Battles Facebook group through Captain Adams VHS Pirate Ship and vote via the poll. And you can vote on YouTube via the Captain Adams VHS Pirate Ship channel community poll.
This place has more polls than a strip club.
Yes, you can vote up to 4 times, so get them in and show the world who you think would win this matchup in Fantastic Battle. Be sure to hit subscribe. Take care out there, and I'll see you next time only on Captain Adams VHS Pirate Ship.